Hello, and thank you for taking the time to listen to these messages. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out the description box for ways to support our channel. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to the Collective Perspective. My name is Alec Himes. Today is going to be another freestyle like usual. You know, we may have a general topic, but it's pretty much a free for all. Just however the information comes, excuse me, however the information comes from the divine is how I deliver it. And I don't, this is not me sitting here. This is not my thoughts. This is just me being an open and willing conduit for information to flow through. Um, I want to ask, are we witnessing the death of America? Are we witnessing the death of our political system? Are we witnessing the death of our Constitution? I don't play politics. I'm not a politician. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Because I believe that both parties are corrupt and neither party has the best interest of the people at hand. And I believe that the only way, excuse me, to truly fix it is to create our own party and for us to come together as a people. And the sooner we do that, the sooner the Republicans and the Democrats will realize that we, the people, aren't playing anymore. We're not going to accept business and politics and rhetoric as usual. We're not going to accept the millionaires and billionaires being able to pay for votes that are for their best interest when they only represent less than 1% of the population. When the other 90 something percent is subject and they're subject to laws that are not for their benefit, for their best interest, should we say. Um, I'm asking, are we witnessing the death of these things? Because we see the major censorship, we see the major favoritism in our mainstream media, where they will cover certain information and blast it all over every single channel, but then there's other information that comes out that they um, censor or they filter or they don't cover. You know, they're very selective about the information and the stories that they choose to cover. In my humble opinion, that reeks of corruption, because when you look at reporting in media, like back in the day, like when it first started off in its inception, just like everything else that we talk about, right? In its inception, it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing to have a free voice that you can disagree with someone or something, and then you can express that. You know what I mean? And you're free to do that. And journalism was unbiased. If they found impropriety or immorality on either side or in any area, it was getting exposed, it was getting dealt with, okay? At what point did media start becoming a political tool, though? At what point did the powers that be decide to use the media to sway the opinions and to brainwash the public, basically? I I was always under the impression that, again, the media and the reporters had a moral responsibility to bring the people the truth, the facts, no matter what they were. The facts, no matter if it exonerates or if it incriminates. You see? Because they're not supposed to have a party affiliation. They're not supposed to be aligned politically. Because then that creates a spin, that creates a slant on that new particular news story or that news outlet or that information in which you get from that outlet. You feel me? And so now, me as a person, being a neutral party, when I hear the information and the way it's presented from some of these platforms, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, like that does not sound fair and balanced. Excuse me. Which is what news and reporting is supposed to be. Fair and balanced, unbiased. But somewhere along the line, they were infiltrated. And I humbly believe that it was that same alphabet agency that has done the big majority of infiltration over the years. And that was, I want to say that was called Operation Mockingbird. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I want to say that the op with the CIA doing the interference with the mainstream media was called Operation Mockingbird. Okay, so now we start to see why our mainstream media is slanted or is biased towards one side or the other. And if you look at the pattern of things, again, like I said, are we witnessing the death of America? When you see government officials in the FBI, CIA, and different things like that, like directly going against the sitting president. I don't think I've ever seen this level of hate and anger towards any one person. And he, again, I'm not partial. I don't like Donald Trump. Let me make that clear so that we all understand each other. I don't like Donald Trump. But based upon the facts and the things that I'm observing this man go through and some of the things that's happening around him, I'm like, whoa, like it couldn't be more obvious that they don't want this guy in office. They don't want this guy nowhere around any of their operation, okay? Why though? Why? Why would you have a man just who's not a politician? Again, I'm not defending this guy. He's a very arrogant, very brash, very forceful, very egotistical person, and he's a very harsh and abrasive, very boorish kind of guy. But again, I don't judge. You know what I'm saying? That's him. He has to be that way in order to get the job done that he's getting done right now. There's no other type of personality. There's no type of energy that was going to come in and was going to clean house in the fashion that he has. You had to have that confidence, that brash, that boldness about you, and he has it. He has it, and he's doing an excellent job of cleaning up some of the many years of mismanagement and immorality that has taken place in our government. So again, I don't agree with him as a person, but I do agree with some of the things that he's doing. I don't agree with what he says or how he says it, but I do agree with the actions I see him taking. You see, and when you see the level of politicians and the level of government officials and things like that are against this man, it's truly amazing, and it makes you wonder again. What do all these people have to hide? Why do they hate him so much? Why why is Donald Trump not taking a salary if he's in it for money? That that would seem to me like the first thing. Hey, when do I get my check? You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's 250 grand or not, that's 250 grand more than what I had. So I'm not leaving no scraps on the table. I want that. I gotta have it. So why do you have a man that's not taking a salary from the government? Why do you have a man that is hated, I mean, utterly hated by career politicians? Why, and then at the same time, they get the celebrities and these different people to jump in on the bandwagon. Like, what interest do they have in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, other than, oh, well, Donald Trump is this and he's that and blah, 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 it's talking about his communication and things like that. And again, anyone who's playing on that level, you're not going to be squeaky clean. I'm sorry. You're not. There is no person playing on that level that is squeaky clean. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. Um, but again, it does make me wonder when you have all these different entities and people and trying so hard to get a person out of office and make sure that he does not get reelected. That makes me wonder because I'm a person that likes to ask questions and I want to know why. And so that was one of my things is why does no one like him? Why is everyone against him? So on and so forth. So also, I would like to look in the area of, we look at our economy and we look at the way that the world is going. It's a blessing that Trump, again, I'm not defending the guy. I'm not. But facts are facts, okay? When you look at the restructuring and the renegotiation of the deals that we had with China, and a lot of evidence is going to come out. Some of it is probably already out and it's just not being covered by the mainstream, or it's just not being talked about by these different committees that are reviewing this information. But we're going to get plenty of evidence. Emails, all these different things, text messages, everything, correspondence of different people's involvement with foreign governments. One of the major ones being China. The CCP has been, oh my gosh, man, they've been using their capital to really, really push and shape a lot of the policies and the trade negotiations to benefit them. Of course, we know. But I do believe that they are basically trying to buy us or dismantle us from within. If we would not have had the hiccup, in the elite's plan by Donald Trump getting elected, I think that we would be well on our way to speaking Mandarin right now. Yeah, yeah, that's no joke. They're literally dismantling our country and selling it from within to the highest bidder. And they've been doing it for years. It's just been a big money grab, you know. And it's almost like they know it's almost like they have information that nobody else has. It's almost like they know that America has an expiration date and they're trying to cash in as much as they can before that date hits. You know what I mean? It's that's just the way it seems. With the blatant mismanagement and the budgets and things like that that have gotten out of control. We can't account for all this money. All these things are happening. This black budget and all these things are going on. And again, to me, it almost seems like they knew or they know that this current system or that America has an expiration date. And like they're cashing in, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's just my humble opinion on things that I've seen going on and the trend of events around the world. You can see after they devalued or they took our credit rating down a notch. What was it? It was about 3, 4 years, maybe a little more. But they took us down from like a AAA credit rating as a country down to a AA or an A or whatever it was, and that was like the warning shot right there to people like, hey, this thing's getting ready to kick off. You know what I'm saying? Because in order for them to create a global economy, in order for them to create a one world system, they've got to level that playing field. So countries like the United States and these other big countries that, excuse me, have these huge economies and booming currencies and all this stuff, in order to be able to have a seamless transition into a world system, a world economy, you've got to devalue the dollar. You've got to knock that currency down a couple levels in order to make it even or make it fair for the other people that are going to be involved in the system. Because if you got the dollar and the euro coming in riding high, and something else coming in like this, it's going to throw off their currency and it's going to make it less valuable. Instead of, if the dollar comes in more of at an equal level, then it's going to be more of a seamless transition and everyone's going to be able to integrate a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So I think that death of America, kind of ties in with the globalization. And I think it was planned. I think it was planned from the beginning. From America's inception, they knew that they only had a certain amount of time. It's almost like this was like a business model. Like almost like an experiment. Like, hey, we're gonna give this 50 years, or we're gonna give this 150 years, or whatever the number that they put on it. And then if it wasn't viable, then they would scrap it. You know what I mean? But they saw that it was very, very valuable, and they were making quite a bit of capital off of it. So I think that they kept it going. They kept it going. And I think even going back into my modern day slavery, I did an upload called Modern Day Slavery, and this kind of ties in with that, where like right around that time, they saw that it was more lucrative, more beneficial to have like the elites, the aristocrats, as like the big corporation owners, the big tech giant owners, or whoever owners, and then everyone kind of work for them and just have the whole country be a plantation, you know, and then the slave owners, the plantation owners, or the companies, the Fortune 500, you know, and I believe that that was the beginning of that, you know, them, they instituted a specific plan as far as with the slavery. It evolved. They saw it was lucrative. They could make a lot of capital. So then they stepped it up. They upped the ante and they said, okay, well, you know, now we'll make the whole country a plantation. You know what I'm saying? And that's that's when it became what it was, and it morphed into that long range, that long term vision that they had in mind, and at the same time, they knew that you know, that model of having a whole country basically represent a plantation, that model would only last for so long because there's something specific that they're trying to extract from this model, right? And once they found the information, once they found out what that was, you know what I mean? Whatever information they were gathering, whatever they were trying to extract, whatever system they were trying to, you know, map and monitor and scale, they did it. You know what I mean? And so now you're going to see, this is why we're seeing the death of America. It was almost like it had to happen this way. You know, it's like it was planned. Once they gathered the information that they needed to gather, now it's time to transition into a new system. You know, and again, it's going to have something to do with control. It's going to have something to do with slavery. You may not see it. You may not be able to readily identify it as slavery, but it's going to be slavery. They're going to have some system of control over the masses. And I also spoke in a different video about how, you know, we're going to start to see the borders break down and things like that. Again, that ties into the death of America because they're eventually going to chop us up and break us down. They want to dissolve these borders between states, borders between countries, you know, start to regentrify, you know. They're going to start restructuring a lot of this landscape and regions and goods and services and things like that. So as we're witnessing the death of our political system, you know, and we're seeing it now, the death of the two-party system. After 2020, things in this country are going to change drastically. The way that we proceed forward from here, in many ways, is going to change. Elections and the way that we select our politicians and governing officials will definitely be one of them. So I just would like to mentally prepare people for, you know, the possibility that this is where we're going. We're going down the road of the death of America. And until we, the people, come together and put aside our differences, they win when we do nothing. They win if you just sit there, not doing anything. They win if you don't raise your voice and speak out to your friends and family. They win if you don't raise your voice and speak out to your coworkers. They win if you don't raise your voice and speak out to just an average person you see walking down the street. They win when people choose not to acknowledge their reality and choose not to see facts and information that is presented to them directly in front of their eyes, and they still refuse to see and accept information for what it is. I find that to be very sad. But again, this is the direction we're going, and there will be those people. But as long as we're prepared, as long as we have a plan in our mind of, we may not have everything together monetarily and all this other stuff, but if we at least have a plan in our mind, the direction that we would like to, put our focus and our energy and our time and our capital, I think that you'll be 2 steps ahead of the average person, because most people, again, are going to be reacting to the circumstances that are being placed upon them, instead of seeing them coming and being prepared. And instead of reacting as the situation happens, you're already prepared and you can just institute your plan, and it's a nice smooth transition for you. You know what I'm saying? But these are just some of the things that we're going to have to be aware of coming up here in the future. So I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to this message and for allowing me to express my love to the world. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.